guys, it's Sue and welcome back to Beauty Fortified, and if you're new here, welcome. And today I wanted to share with you a couple of tips and tricks I have for creating a dewy, glowy look on normal combination skin. Now I have normal combination skin and one of my big bugbears are my pores and texture, and so I really find it quite a difficult task to achieve a beautiful, youthful, glowy, dewy look. But I have a couple of tips and tricks that I've nailed down, and these are things that I use when I do want to look fresh and glowy, but without the shine and the grease that can happen when you're using products that are very specific to a dewy look. So I'm going to take you through what I use today. I am using a matte foundation. I've got nothing new here. These are all staples in my makeup collection, but they're just things that I do pull out from time to time when I want to mix things up a bit and just get a bit of a glow. So if you're like me and you have normal combination skin and you're looking for tips and tricks to bring some glow and some life back into your skin, I'm going to show you how. So now onto the tutorial. I've prepped my skin, so now we're going to start off with foundation, and I'm going in with one from Shein, and it's the Complexion Pro. And I'm in the shade Honey. This is a dead ringer for Estee Lauder Double Wear. It really is a great dupe and it's a fraction of the cost. And because I want to sheer it out, I want a kind of demi matte finish, I'm going to add a little mixture to it. So I'm going in with the L'Oreal Glow Cherie, and this is called a Glow Enhancer. You just mix a little bit of this with your foundation and it just adds a little bit of glow. So I really need to be quite careful about the amount of glow that I add to my skin because of my pores. So I put a little bit on the back of my hand, probably about that much, and I'm going to mix it in with a pump of the foundation. And this just helps to, it retains the integrity of the matte foundation, but it just kind of shears it out very slightly. So I'm just mixing those together into a paste on the back of my hand, and then I'm going to apply dots all over my skin. I'm in the shade Honey, not sure if I mentioned that, with this foundation, and bought this sight unseen from their website, and it really was a great match, so I was quite pleased about that. So I'm going in with a foundation brush. This is also a Shein foundation brush. If you haven't tried their makeup brushes, I highly recommend them. I've bought loads off the website and they really are incredible. You pay just a fraction of what you would pay for even drugstore brushes. They're really just excellent value for money, and I have yet to have a bad experience with a makeup brush that I've bought from Shein. So that's pretty much blended in. You can still see my skin through the foundation, so it's not completely blocked out or completely matte, and it just is looking very alive, if I can put it like that. Now, if you don't have a mixture like a Glow Cherie to mix down a matte foundation, you can of course just use a moisturizer. I also sometimes use a little dab of squalane, and you can even use a couple of drops of oil, and it's not going to destroy the integrity of the foundation. It's just going to add a little bit of sheerness to the foundation. So now onto concealer. I'm going in with my concealer of the moment. This is Chanel Le Correcteur. Just putting a little bit under the eyes. I do like this one. I think this shade is possibly a little bit too light for me. I have been trying to get the B40. I am in B30 and they have been out of stock for the longest time. Just looking for my little brush. I blend it either with my fingers or just a soft fluffy brush. This is not a full coverage concealer, so it's not going to help you with your dark circles, but it does just help to brighten up the eye area, and it kind of forms a little bit of a film on the skin. So really is a lovely one and just helps to brighten up the under eye area. So before we go on to the eyes, I'm going to do my brows. So I'm going in with the Stila eye pencil stick, and this is in the shade medium. I really love this because it does have a very fine point and a spoolie on the other end that you can use just to brush up your brows. So I'm just going to quickly define my brows with this. Now onto the lids. So I'm going to add just a little bit of powder to my lids just to help the eyeshadows blend. So I'm using my Rimmel Stay Matte, just applying that to the upper lid. This just really helps with the blending out of the eyeshadows. And today I'm going in with one of my favorites from MAC. This is possibly the first eyeshadow pan I ever bought from MAC, and this is in the shade Swiss Chocolate. It's actually come apart, but the eyeshadow is still good. And it's a very warm kind of reddish brown. I haven't worn this in ages. And it's just beautiful for this kind of look because it does, if you're going in with pinks, which I'm going to, it does have a little bit of pink or red in it. And it just is a really beautifully blendable matte. So I'm going to go in to the crease with this shade, but I'm going to start on the outer corner. So I'm taking a small fluffy brush and I'm just going to start applying it to the outer corner of the eye. So this is where I'm going to deposit most of the shadow, and then I'm going to bring it across the crease and onto the upper lid, just like that. And I do this because I have hooded lids, so I like to make them recede. A dark shadow is going to help them recede. And this is just such a beautiful shade. So I'm fairly happy with that. I'm going to go on to the other side. Now I'm going to be using quite a shimmery shadow on the lower lid. So when I do that, I do prefer to do my crease first, just in case there's any transfer of the shimmer onto the crease, and then it does make blending out a little bit of a pain. So now that I have deposited that color onto my crease and onto my upper lid, I am going to take a fluffy blending brush. Just going to blend that out just to make sure that there are no harsh lines or edges. And then I am going to come back after I've put the shadow on the mobile lid just to further enhance the crease slightly. So just to see where I need a little bit more of this crease shade. And then for the lid, for the mobile lid, I'm going in with a shade, another shade from MAC. This is a famous one, and this is in the shade Naked Lunch. And it's a pearly, very, very light pink color. This is really beautiful. It's beautiful for the inner corner, and it's also beautiful for the mobile lid. I'm going in with a flat eyeshadow brush. Just going to take a little bit of that onto the brush, and I'm just going to apply it on the inner 2/3 of the lid, of the mobile lid. And you can also apply this wet if you want a little bit more color payoff, but I just love the subtlety of this shade, and it really is nice for mature lids. It does have shimmer, but it doesn't make your lids look too crinkly. It doesn't really enhance the creases, although obviously there's no perfection in mature lids because they do start to crinkle, but I'm not going to let that stop me from using a shimmer eyeshadow. Now I'm going to add a little bit more of, oh, forgot the name of this already, Swiss Chocolate. I'm going to go in a little bit, so now I can see where I need a little bit more definition. So taking the original fluffy brush, I'm just going to go into the outer corner, and I'm just going to build up this color slightly. And then for the lower lid, taking a pencil brush, I'm going to use that same crease shade Swiss Chocolate, and I'm just going to use this to lightly define the lower lid. So this is it's a beautiful soft color. You can sheer it out, you can build it up, and it's not too red that it's going to make you look like you've got pink eye, but you just need to go very softly on the lower lid, and it just helps to add a hint of definition. And if you wanted to, you could obviously go in with a brown pencil on top of this, I'm going to leave it like this because it is just fine as it is. If this was an evening look, I probably would add a little bit more drama, a little bit more definition with a pencil. But I just like the very subtle wash of color that it's giving me under the eyes. And now I'm going to go in with some mascara. And today I'm using, this is a mini from Benefit Very Real Magnet Mascara. And I'm going to go in with a couple of coats of this. And now onto the cheeks. So this is where the magic happens, and this is where I add most of the glow. I'm going in with a liquid blush. Now this is from a brand called Feve. It's a Korean brand, and this is in the shade Pitter Pat, and it's a very, very pigmented liquid blush, which I do struggle to apply because it is so pigmented. And so to add a little bit of a glow to that, I'm going to add a little bit of a liquid highlighter, and I'm going in today with the Chanel Le Beige Sheer Healthy Glow Fluid. Now if you didn't have anything like this, you could go in with the MAC Strobe Cream, which will work just as well, or you could go in with a mixer such as the one I used with my foundation, and that's the L'Oreal Glow Cherie. Both of them will do the same, or all of them will do the same trick. So for the blush, what I'm going to do is just pump a little bit of this onto the back of my hand. Because this is so pigmented, you really need the tiniest amount. And then taking the liquid highlighter, I'm just going to give that a bit of a shake. I'm going to add it to the blush. I'm just adding just a tiny pump. And I find that this really helps to diffuse the color as well as adding glow to the blush, because it is matte, as I say, and so just a little bit of something added to it, a little bit of something glowy or sheeny or shimmery, can really help just to put the glow back. So I'm going to apply a little bit of that to each cheek, and then taking a small little blush brush. This is a synthetic blush brush. This is another one from Shein. I'm just going to gently blend that all over the cheeks, starting at the kind of on the apple of the cheek and just blending out and keeping it quite high. So those are the cheeks done, and now just looking at my skin, I'm pretty happy with it overall, but I am going to powder lightly, as I say, because I do have combination skin and really don't want this whole look to kind of degenerate into a glowy heap. So I'm going to take my Rimmel Stay Matte, and I'm just going to powder on my forehead, where I do get quite a bit of shine throughout the day, onto my nose, but steering clear of the cheek area, and a little bit down onto my chin. So my forehead, my T-zone, is basically the biggest area that I'm looking out for in terms of keeping it matte, and the cheeks will do the job of the glow. So very happy with that. And now onto lips. So I'm going in with a very glowy lipstick. This is one of the new Revlon ones. This is called Glossed Up Rose. It's one of their very shiny lipsticks. Beautiful, very balmy, does not dry out the lips. And I'm going to line my lips with the Clinique lip liner, and this is in Intense Blush. So guys, that is a finished look. So just adding a little bit of my much loved glow back into my makeup routine, in a routine that is predominantly kept quite matte because of the issues that I have with my skin. So let me know if you have any tips and tricks that you use to bring the glow back to your makeup. I'd love to hear from you. Please leave me a comment down below. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up. Please don't forget to subscribe, and I'll see you next time. Ciao, ciao.